All right, 5:30. You're ready to go. Call meeting to order. You'll all stand and join me for the pledge.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we might want to stay standing.
I just said the same thing.
Raise your right hand.
Now, if you raise your right hand or repeat after me, or you can read along on your. I do swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
That I will support the Constitution.
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Idaho,
The Constitution and the laws of the state of Idaho.
and that I will faithfully discharge
And I will faithfully discharge
all the duties of the office
all the duties of the office
of trustee of Mountain Home School District 193
of trustee of Mount Home School District 193.
in Elmore County,
County,
state of Idaho,
state of Idaho.
according to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. One and two.
Pass it down.
All right, moving right along, at this time, we'll go into election of district officers. So it's time we'll appoint Sherry as our acting chairperson.
At this time, taking nominations for chairperson.
I nominate Ralph Finn.
Second. So we have a motion and a second for Ralph. Are there any other nominations? May I have a motion to close nominations?
So move to close. Second.
And at this time, Rob, congratulations, you're the chairperson.
I was sweating for a second there.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take nominations and election for, what we got? For vice chairman. At this time, I'd like to nominate Christina Knox to continue as vice chairman.
Second it.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay. Hearing none, take a motion to close nominations. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, Christina, you're it. Election for clerk. Do you have any nominations for clerk?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Sherry.
Did everybody speak at once?
Second it.
Is there any other nominations for clerk? We have any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, I'll take a motion to close. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
You're stuck with us for another year.
No, you're stuck with me for that.
Nominations for deputy clerk. Do we have any nominations for deputy clerk? Along with us, Levi. Nominate Levi. There's any other nominations for deputy? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to close.
Second.
All right, that's it. Election for treasurer. Do you have any nominations for treasurer?
That's also Levi.
Yeah. A nomination, Levi.
Second.
Do you have any other nominations for treasurer? Any other nominations for treasurer? Any other nominations for treasurer? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a motion to close. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Levi's got two jobs as usual. Good news, we had nothing submitted this month. I do have one piece, I don't know if I announced it last month or not, but Sherry Barr was selected as the VFW's Teacher of the Year for the state of Idaho, and it should be forwarded to National Caheta. We'll know something around April timeframe on that. Moving on to independent report, Mr. Gilbert.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, a couple items to update you on. One is a good news from today. I got an email from Lexi Hamill, who is Congressman Simpson's advisor, and says, I hope it all is well. I wanted to flag good news for you and your team. Later this week, the House is set to vote on the appropriations package, which includes the community funding project. We anticipate that will pass easily and get one step closer to President Trump's desk for his signature. So that was good news from today. We hadn't had an update in a while. A legislative update, we just met with, had a Zoom call with the state superintendent. Kind of go over some of the details of the governor's budget. If you had a chance, JFAC came out with their budget proposal, their revenue projections for next year, which were about 130 million higher than what the governor's financial people are projecting. So I asked Debbie, I said, so is the plan to use that to fill any holes? Their plan is to use it for additional tax cuts to create an even bigger issue. So she is very optimistic though on the governor's proposal to hold districts fairly harmless this session, but that the battle around this is going to be that increase in revenue projections that could come back middle of next year where if those projections don't come to that, then they'll be right in that same position of having to do mid-year holdbacks. So kind of interesting. So we'll start figuring out how to apply some pressure there. I think the message was more positive today than it's been for about 10 days. We were being advised that, we could be looking at anywhere from 3 to 6% next year. Debbie's very optimistic that they will be able to hold our budgets harmless while addressing some of those online learning concerns that they have. So that was a very positive report today with it, and I'll kind of keep you up to date on that process as we go. The Region 3 Superintendent Group, we met last week in Boise, and we are united as a region around just the simple idea of no further cuts to our budgets. There had been talk around supporting some additional revenue, hopefully going towards special ed, but we as a group decided that this is probably not the year to really push that, and instead look at how we can keep budgets as is. In the governor's recommendation on healthcare, if your district is not part of the state plan, they're going to provide a 11% increase in funding for those districts that aren't. The districts that are, it's 14%. We really have no idea where we're going to be until we usually get our information early in April on what that projection for our increase is. So hopefully we're under that 11%. Otherwise, we'll have to go in there and really look at how we address that deficit there. But with all that said, I'm more optimistic with the messaging we heard from the state superintendent today. So be happy to answer any questions you might have. That's all.
All right, Board of Trustees Public Engagement Report. Anybody have anything to report? No, I don't. I spoke with one of the legislature, House representatives from a different district on some pending legislation that was up last year that may be coming back again this year. Just what my thoughts were on it and how it will affect us if it comes back. So, okay, we have any public input? Okay, at this time, we'll take approval of the agenda. So, all in favor?
Aye.
A approval of the consent agenda unless somebody wants something pulled out. If not, then we'll take a motion to accept that as well. So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
No unfinished, no delegation, no unfinished business, new business. Their schedule for a regular meeting.
Mr. Chairman and trustees, in your packet, you have, a calendar for this year. And I've put the dates of our board meetings for each month, which is the third Tuesday of each month, starting at 5:30.
Your business? We'll take a motion to approve. So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Designation of public posting locations.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman and trustees, I would like approval for our, posting locations to be the same that we've had for well over 20 years. That would be, outside front on our bulletin board here at the district administration office, on our website, and on Facebook.
Any questions? Take a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the locations for public postings.
All in favor? Mr. Gilbert, appointments for, proposed appointments for year 2026.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this month we have the officers of the district and the records custodians of the district. I don't believe there's any changes from last year, so I'd ask for your approval of the officers of the district for 2026 and the records custodians for the district.
Any questions? We'll take a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Request for travel, Joseph Ward to go to Australia and New Zealand.
Come on up.
Our new best friend.
Right? How many chaperones do you need?
Good evening, Chairman, trustees, and members of the board. I'm pleased to speak with you about a trip run through EF Tours to both Australia and New Zealand coming this July 2026. As of right now, there's 14 students in attendance, and there's a chaperone rate of 7-1. Tonight, I'll present you with a brief itinerary of locations and that we're going to travel to, as well as the science-related experiences that students will have the opportunities at each of these locations. I believe there was a presentation shared with all of you guys. So on that second slide there, we're going to be gone for 15 days. This is going to include our round trip flights leaving from here and ending here. The initial flight will be to Sydney, where we will stay for 3 nights. And then from there, we'll go to Paluma for 1 day and then to Townsville for 4. We'll follow that up with a night in Brisbane and then our final destination of Auckland, New Zealand for 3 days. On that third slide will be information regarding our time in Sydney, where we are going to be able to take a backstage tour of the Sydney Opera House, where students will learn about the inner workings of the facility, and that will include information about its design, which originated from Mayan temples with modern engineering. And then outside of the structural engineering components, they'll also have a chance to learn about the concert hall, which was designed to aid in sound quality and the movement of sound waves. From there, we will be able to experience the engineering feat that Australia was able to accomplish with the Sydney Tower. They did this with innovation of a number of cables along with hydraulic dampeners for the stability of both high winds and earthquakes of this structure. And is designed to allow for swaying and movement along with movement with the ground to prevent structural damage during any of these major events. And then we will also be able to go to the Australian Museum. Outside of the history of just Australia, there's a lot of different fossils and things that have been collected across the continent there that they will be able to experience and kind of that'll tie into a lot of earth science and how they the different processes that happen and the preservation of all of that and the timeline of Earth. And there's also going to be an exhibit there called Frog ID, which is a touring exhibition, and that's going to go over the importance of frogs and their ecosystems and how they can function as a keystone species in their environments. And they will also be able to learn about the conservation efforts and preservation of the ecosystems and the endangered species in those environments with that. Finally, we'll end up in Watson's Bay, which is both the oldest fishing village in Australia and their first marine biological research station, which was established all the way back in 1881 and focuses on the habitat restoration, biodiversity, and coastal ecology along with Earth's history as the geological processes formed that island from ancient river systems in that area. From there, we'll end up on that fourth slide of Townsville and Magnetic Island. So when we go to Townsville, we're going to end up at Roe Bay Sustainability Center and Wetlands. And students will have the opportunity to learn about conservation efforts there from damage that we've caused over the years, as well as from natural disasters, and learn the importance of maintaining healthy ecosystems and be able to participate in a land management project, which could include things such as planting trees at one of their revegetation sites. Students are also going to be able to build a microclimate sensor to collect actual data on the weather while we are there and analyze and learn about those weather patterns and how that can affect the environment along with our changing climate. We'll then end up at Magnetic Island, which is one of 3 community-based islands within the Great Barrier Reef State Park. And they will participate in a field-based survey of the island's wild koala population. And that'll be in cooperation with James Cook University's research, in which they're going to collect data, and that'll contribute to the monitoring of the koala population there, as well as learn about the conservation efforts they have in place at Magnetic Island. And then we will also be doing these things with a marine biologist, so we can learn about their career as a whole, doing a day in the life with them. And then we will follow it up with a marine biologist, in which students are going to get an amazing opportunity to snorkel the Great Barrier Reef. And so they not just get to do that, but they get to do it with a marine biologist who can answer all their questions about both the plant and animal life in the Great Barrier Reef, which is actually the largest living organism on Earth, stretching over 1,200 miles. From there, we'll end up in Paluma and Brisbane, which you'll see on your 5th slide there. We're going to get a stay at Hidden Valley Resort, which operates on 100% sustainable energy, and students will get to learn about how they actually operate to do that and maintain that consistently every year. And then they will get the opportunity to hike through the wet tropics rainforest, where they will have an opportunity to see a wild platypus as they are getting closer to the at-risk category and potentially going to the endangered species list. As they are an endemic species, they're only going to be found in a couple areas in the world, and they are highly susceptible to risks and extinction. From there, we'll end up in Brisbane, where we get to go to Reef HQ Aquarium, which is Australia's national education center for the Great Barrier Reef. And students will learn about reef management and get to explore the aquarium through the variety of organisms that live in the Great Barrier Reef. And then they will also get to visit the turtle hospital that they have there at the aquarium, so they can learn about how the facility treats sick and injured sea turtles and works on returning them to their environment, natural environment, if possible. And then we will end our trip in New Zealand, where we will have the opportunity to go to the Waikato Caves. This is where students will actually go blackwater rafting, and so we get lowered down into a cave, and then students will get to experience all of the bioluminescent organisms, specifically the glowworms, and get to see all of those amazing creatures and learn about how those unique organisms survive in that environment. One of only 2 places in the world they can experience that. And then we will end with the taking a ferry to hope I'm saying this right, Waikiki wetlands, where the students will work with expert ecologists to participate in another wetlands restoration project and learn about coastal restoration as a whole. Overall, there's going to be a lot of science-related activities and experiences that they're going to in each of these places during the duration of this trip. And it'll cover a variety of standards, including biology, environmental science, earth science, and physics, providing them with real-world experiences and applications from the classes that we teach at Mountain Home High School. That's all I got.
That was a great trip.
How long is this trip?
It is 15 days long. So right now we're set to leave July 13th. Or July, I'm trying to remember. They gave us a 3-day window on either side for adjustments. But yeah, 15 days in July.
Wow. That's awesome.
Amazing.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, just somebody take a motion to approve.
Then make a motion to approve the trip to Australia and New Zealand.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, request to approval to attend Cesta, am I saying that right, Karen?
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
Advanced essential components of IEP.
I am requesting to send 4 of our new, well, good evening, Chairman and members of the board. I am requesting to send 4 of our brand new SPED teachers to this training. We offered an in-district essential training in August at the very beginning of the year. These 4 new teachers have done just a really good job of showing growth and understanding in the SPED process. And I would like them to have the opportunity to receive this advanced training that will further their knowledge and hopefully lead to some staff retention in the SPED department. I put Boise or Nampa, hoping that we can do Boise just because it's closest. But it will depend on enrollment. And they're not going to get to do a lot of cool things like the children. They're gonna go to Boise. No snorkeling. And so I request your approval for them to go.
What's the cost on it?
The subs. And if they choose to submit mileage reimbursement, the training is free.
Any questions? No, I'll take a motion.
I move, that this group attend the SESTA Advanced Essential Components for the IEP.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Jonathan, request approval for IT to attend IETA conference.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'd like approval to send 3 members of the IT department to the annual IETA conference in Boise. It's the largest ed tech event in the state. So there will be, I think this year, well over 100 vendors in attendance, dozens and dozens of sessions each day for the event on everything from technical implementation to all the way up to leadership and even superintendent focused sessions. We would be going 2 of the 3 days, looking at about 550 for 3 people to go.
Is that total?
Oh, including mileage, yeah.
Alright, any questions?
No.
Any motion?
Make a motion to approve the IT staff to go to the IETA conference.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Appoint ISBA legislative representative. Basically what that is. For that, we just, they sent an email out to the boards to appoint a representative to attend their different briefings that they have once a month. On legislative session, and if we need to go testify on something that is specific that will affect us, then they may ask us to come and do that on behalf.
I would like to submit your name. I'll make a motion of that sort.
There's a second. All second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, authorization to schedule additional school board training. We've got different options that you can do. Just an authorization, this is just to give us the ability to actually schedule something in the future. If we would like to during this next school year.
But nothing that I have to pick right now.
Nothing that we have to pick right now. Although one they've got, I saw today, they were talking about, budgeting and stuff during these,
That's just things that I thought we should.
Yeah.
We should do as well.
yeah, I was looking at that one, but, this is just giving us authorization to do that.
Sure.
I'll take a motion for that.
I make a motion to authorize, to get the authorization for school board training.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, disposal of capital assets, old school district activities buses, just one?
Yeah, I'll fill in on this one.
Okay.
So, yeah, we have one of the vans over there has, the frame is rusted through. So probably not that safe to be driving around. And so we would like to dispose of that asset.
Would we declare it surplus to dispose of, or we just have to do just to dispose of?
Yeah, we have to have approval for us from the board to be able to sell it. And then John's question, with the replacement, right now, I think we are okay with the number that we have, but we'll continue to, and as those things, as they depreciate, we will be coming back and I think we've got another one that's probably about there, so replacing as we go.
All right, make a motion that we dispose of the old school district activities bus.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of district calendar for Mountain School District and Benham Mountain.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you have the first rendition of the school calendar for 26-27. I want to thank Jeff for doing this. I'm not sure exactly how he got the privilege of being the one to do this, but he did a great job. So just a couple things to note. The calendar is very similar to the last couple years, and I put this in my letter. Memorial Day weekend in 2027 falls really late in the month. And so graduation will actually be the weekend before, which I'm not sure I can remember not having it on Memorial Day weekend. So just wanted to bring that to your attention, but date wise, it really matches up to when Memorial Day traditionally falls. So I'm sure it's very rare for us to have the calendar not have some hiccups in there, so it could be coming back. Jeff did try to align spring break with what the SIC is doing. I'm not sure every SIC school is thoroughly all the way through their calendar process as well, but I think we're aligned with the majority of the conference there, so spring sports should line up pretty well too, so. With that, I'd take any questions if you have them. If not, I would ask for your approval of the 2026-27 district calendars.
So we'll approve these pending negotiations, correct? Anybody got any questions? So we'll take a motion to approve pending negotiations.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Policy revisions, first reading.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you have three policies that are in first reading. Again, most of this is moving it over to ISBA policy. I would like to point out in the first one, the student-owned electronic communication devices. Mark is currently in the process of putting together a cell phone policy for the high school. He and his staff have worked on that. The anticipation with that is that it would go into place next year, with a lot of education going out to parents the remainder of the year on what that's going to look like. I'll share that with you as well. It basically states that during the classroom day, the students can't have the cell phone on them in the classroom, so they'll either have to store it in a backpack or in a secure storage in the classroom that they have. And then during passing period, the cell phone is available to be used at that time. So every school is responsible for their own version of this. The reason for that is we want the support of the staff to come up with a policy that suits their building. Obviously, an elementary school is a little different than a high school and how those devices are used. And so far Ryan has had his in place and I think it's gone fairly well with that. And along with the other schools, but Ryan has the most restrictive one. Just wanted to make sure that's said. That's actually gone pretty well. And so I think those are ones that help. The education key part of that is the biggest part of this because it is going to be a dynamic change and there will be issues the first, I imagine, week that those are in place next year. But with that being said, the other three policies really are cleaning up existing policy and putting it into ISBA format that's there. So be happy to answer any questions you might have on the student-owned electronics communications devices, the student handbook, and the curriculum materials selection, development, and adoption and assessment.
I do have a couple of questions or comments. What's parental feedback on the no personal communication device? Even, I mean, the policy says that they will be off during the day. Are you getting a lot of parent feedback like I need to be able to get a hold of my kid? Or
No.
I've heard that is a problem. A lot of parental feedback on resistance to a policy like this, which is really surprising. If this would have been in place when my kids were in school, I would have said, awesome.
I would say majority of the people say that. I've had maybe a couple parents that said, I want to get a hold of them, and I say that here's the ways you do that, and call the office.
Right,
Get a note.
right.
But it has been absolutely fantastic.
And your policy is completely off in a backpack or
In their locker.
in their locker.
Ryan and I talked about this a lot. It'll be supported until there's an incident.
But we haven't had.
Right.
It's been.
And so I think that's really what you hear on it, from parents is there's parents that they absolutely want to be able to get a hold of their child no matter when, you name it. So.
And so this policy says it's off during the entire school day, correct? Is that what you're doing?
That's what I'm doing, yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't have it during lunches or passing grade.
And is that the intent across the board or?
No, like even with state code, that what they were pressing districts to do last year was really to come up with a policy that limited the classroom distraction with it. And so, the policy Mark's working on, I think, is very similar to what you see in Boise School District, West Ada. They allow them during passing periods. The only high school that I've really heard has the absolute, kind of like what Ryan's policy is Valley View has done the same. And again, I think you're going to have support for that until there's an issue. And that I think will change some of that. But, the big thing with this is, for the principals to come up with policy, it's got to be supported by the staff. And so it's why I've always said there isn't going to be a district mandated version of this, because it's got to fit what the staff wants. If you have one teacher in that building that is not supporting policy that they came up with, it really creates issues for everybody in that building. So Mark's been very thoughtful with staff, and it's really what the staff was willing to support. So, I commend everybody for doing that. And yeah, I think the more we can limit the distraction of those devices, I know even our teachers who may be in support of having them in the classroom will appreciate the reduction in distractions.
Also, Mr. Superintendent, the student handbook, the board approved that as policy. And in that says that whatever schools put in their handbook is policy.
Any other questions? I'll take a motion to approve these three in their first reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Executive session for personnel. This time I'll take a motion to go to executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Roll call, please.
Their names down here real quick. Hey, Trustee Knox.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Donahue.
Aye.
Trustee Dedekineta.
Aye.
And Mr. Chairman.
Aye. Oh. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of School District number 193 recess from open meeting into the following executive session pursuant to Idaho Code Title 74, Chapter 2, Section 74-202, subsection 3, subsection 4, subsection C, subsection 6, subsection A. Open meeting, regular meeting, executive session, Section 74-204, subsection 3. Open meeting, executive session 74-206, subsection 1, subsection B, to consider personnel matters, Idaho Code. Be it further resolved, following executive session, the Board of Trustees will convene into public session for further business or adjournment of the meeting. All right, we're in executive session, folks.
Yeah.